Yeah.
Whenever you're going through your peak list, right? If you're facing any challenges,
Yeah.
then you can refer this chapter. That is your peak list.
Oh, oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
So I just submitted pick list and I went to this chapter.
Ha ha ha.
Then I started working on this if, creating rules
Ha ha.
and events, but I wasn't sure
Hmm.
if this was the same rules we did from in 80.
Yes, yes. Actually, it is the same rule, but here at a very high level they have covered. Actually, whatever I have given to you, right?
Yeah,
Those around 100 business rules, those are
yeah,
actually generally people cover it as generally in the L3 level or level. Suppose I'm talking about level 1, level 2, level 3. Whatever we are
yeah.
going now, it is actually kind of in between level 1 and 2. Okay. But
Uh-huh,
once you
uh-huh.
cover everything like all these things, right? Then you can
Okay.
go for that. That is very detailed one. Okay.
So it's detailed in these chapters here.
No, no, no. Actually,
Oh,
so that examples which I have given, right? So that
yeah,
is a very detailed one. And
yes.
so yesterday I have given one very large volume document, right?
Yes, I started working on that, but it was so large that I said,
Uh,
I'll take
uh,
my time. It's going to be my dictionary. Yes.
so it is very
Thank you.
huge. So today I'll be just giving a snapshot of it. Which are the topics you have to focus after going through it? Okay.
Yes.
Then you.
I think when we finish today, I will let you tell me based on your work experience,
Hmm,
what, I can start little by little. I
huh,
think from if I'm wrong, you can tell me.
hmm,
I think one needs to understand
hmm.
the RBP very well,
Yes, yes.
and then the data modeling, data models very well.
Data models, all the data models, it should be you should be able to explain at any point of time. Okay, all the data models and how does it
Yes,
work. Okay,
yes, yeah.
means which
Then
objects are in under which data models. Those
yeah,
things.
I want to be able to have very clearly
Uh,
what are what is different between a generic data model and a foundation data model. I want to have the linkage
hmm,
between all of them.
hmm, hmm,
And then I kept running into this item here called legacy system
hmm.
as
Legacy
against
system means,
MDF.
yeah, legacy system means actually what happens. We usually generally call it your on-premise system as a legacy because we are moving to success factor. But
Oh,
here,
okay.
what legacy
Well, that's
system
what.
refers is different one, little different here. So inside EC
Oh,
also a lot of innovation happened over last 5 years, right? 5 7 years.
yes,
So
yes.
since 2000, SAP acquired success factor in the year 2012. Okay, at that point
Okay.
of time there was no EC, right? So slowly they have developed this product and around 2015 14 15, and they
Yeah,
whatever they have it was there in their template, or most of them we have to depend upon the XML. Okay, but it was
yeah.
not very easy for an end user or from an admin point of view and all. Okay, so slowly, and also from in terms of performance point of view, user experience point of view, keeping all that in mind, what SAP SuccessFactor product team they done. So they moved slowly all these objects towards MDF. Okay. So for
Oh,
that
okay.
reason, some of the older objects actually they are calling it as now legacy objects. So do not get confused. Here, legacy doesn't mean your on-premise. Okay, if you're reading this document, okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
you have to understand the context. What does it legacy mean actually? So people always
yes,
ask questions. So they always get confused. Like, is the
yes.
legacy means on-premise? No. So in some, you have to read the sentence and you have to also read the context of the chapter also. So
Of
in
the
that,
chapter. Okay, okay, okay,
you got
okay.
clear?
So yeah, I'm trying to still get a hang of
Hmm.
um, my understanding of MDF is that
Hmm.
it's when you do some customizations that you use
Yes.
MDF,
Hmm.
but then I have to. It's a matter of just getting more and more used
Hmm.
to it. I don't know.
Yes, yes, exactly. So at this moment, I'm not expecting you to be an expert in business rules. That is at the next
Okay.
level. So at this
Yeah.
moment, even for a certification point of view, I will recommend follow the guidelines, the highlighted one, and what are the topics are there, but as from an interview point of view or from an
Yeah.
implementation point of view. So
Yeah.
this is a kind of a, you can say it's a kind of a foundation learning, because even I think 200 hours of learning is also not sufficient for Employee Central, if I say.
No. Yeah. It's a
And
big.
we're trying to cover into 10, 12, 13 hours like that. It's
It's
just a
huge.
comprehensive.
It's huge. Yeah.
Very huge,
And
very huge.
but I find the admin document very useful.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Mm,
you very much.
yeah, well.
The only thing I would like to just seek your help with is
Mm,
I'm not naturally, my background is not a technical background.
mm, mm, mm.
So things like how to upload with the
Mm.
XML,
Okay.
how,
Mm, mm,
how to migrate data using
mm,
God knows what, then how to replicate those very technical, very
mm,
specific and technical things.
mhm,
I just wanted to know how to do it, just practically, not necessarily
mm.
theoretically,
Okay.
just the practical things. Yeah,
Mhm. Okay.
I know what they are theoretically, but I haven't tried. I don't know the step-by-step kind of things in
Uh-huh.
theoretical. Practically.
Okay. 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 Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure. I will
yeah.
just do a recap on that for you. Okay. So
Okay.
I will just try to upload and some of the XML, and also, so you have verified the data replication monitor part in the success factor instance, is it? Did you check that?
Yes, I know when I was in when I was in one of my roles in
Hmm.
one bank here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
The HCM, was still in on-premise.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was in Success Factors, but payroll was in on-premise.
Okay.
So what happened was that most of the time there will be data changes in Success Factors,
Mm-hmm.
and to process payroll, you need to be able to do that updating and upgrading of data almost every night.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So at the end of the night,
Mm-hmm.
they set programs are set to be able to ensure that there is the delta in both sides, both the on-premise payroll and the success factors are leveled by night time, so that next morning every data will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're doing the testing for payroll,
Mm-hmm.
because we're using testing environments,
Mm-hmm.
we had to manually replicate, because those environments were not subject to those every night
Mm.
upgrade.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
when we want to do testing, we want to make sure that whatever we are bringing forth or whatever we are testing in payroll was
Mm.
uh, up to date in the HCM side of
Mm.
things.
Mm. 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 Mm.
So and then so only the lady who has been there before me
Mm.
was knew how to replicate data,
Okay.
but she refused to show me. She just gathered it,
Okay.
protected the information, didn't
Okay.
allow me to know it, and I was so offended, and I don't do things like that. I'm like you. I show
Mm.
any information I know,
Mm.
but
Mm.
she completely refused to show me how to do replication. So
I got your point. Few
it's
people are there
terrible.
like that, where we can't. Everyone can't be
Yeah,
like us.
there's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So.
So I just realized that, well, there's nothing I can do. She doesn't want to
Mm.
show me. So I want to start reading. So I took
Mm.
a course in OpenSAP,
Ah.
and
Yes.
then did my own research,
Mm.
but I haven't really tried it on,
Mm.
by hand. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I got you. Got your point. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So basically what happens, so replication is not also very difficult. Okay, so basically we have the specific programs in couple of, I think, videos in my YouTube also it is there. But yeah, so these are
Okay.
basically some specific program. Simply you have to, if you are doing
Yes.
manually, you have to simply execute it. Otherwise, you can,
Yes.
once in a production environment, simply you have to schedule it. Okay. So nothing much. And
Okay.
time to time, you have
Okay.
to monitor them. There are
Yeah.
replication monitor in your. You have access to.
Okay.
You can access to now. Have you seen that monitoring tool, right? In the success factor.
I haven't used it. No, I haven't seen it in Success Factors. I think when we were doing payroll, you mentioned it. I think went
Hmm.
through it.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Okay, yes, yes, yes. So that is the same thing. So you all kind of data monitoring we can check there in the that tool itself. Okay, but
Yes.
it is not very difficult thing. So even for monitoring performance and all these things, and generally bigger companies they deploy one resource for that as well, just like your RBP and all. Otherwise,
Okay.
EC consultants they themselves do it in case of any troubleshooting and all. So
Yes.
nothing much.
And then
Hmm.
in one of the interviews, I was asked to explain um, my knowledge of the booming or CPI.
Okay, okay. Mhm.
So I wasn't sure. I didn't know what
I
to say.
say, yeah, yeah, I got your point. That is too much
I mean,
actually. So CPI, somebody is asking, Dell Boomi, somebody is asking. Actually,
yeah,
at a high level, you can go through, but at a deeper level, it's really difficult to explain because those are
yeah,
integration
I could even,
consultants, dedicated integration consultants are there who work for those
yeah,
modules. Okay.
yeah. And then, but then when I was reading recently, I realized that SAP has now removed the middleware.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
The integration is now
Hmm.
module to module.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes, it's model to model. And if you have gone through some recent Open SAP, they are actually SuccessFactors is also moving towards there is something called one domain model. Okay. If you have
One
gone
domain
through that
model. Okay. Yes.
one domain
Yes.
model, but it is not yet means I have not seen it in the live actually. So it will take some time.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe in the future
Okay. Okay.
releases so at present what is happening module to module if you're integrating a lot of replication you have to do and for that a lot of different cases so you'll be getting
Yes.
different types of error different
Okay.
modules because you're having a payroll module you're having compensation module you are having your LMS you're having so at present what is happening even if you're calling
Yes.
it success factor or SAP they are not in a single you can say a single domain. Okay, so there are different
Okay.
different domains because of a different product. They are having
Yes.
different version. So for that
Yes.
reason, troubleshooting is very difficult these days. So SAP is trying to figure it. It is not like in Workday. Workday, what happens? Workday is a
Yeah.
single monolithic product. Okay,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah. So for that reason, the way you configure it, it is very much flexible and very much yeah. So SAP Success Factor also it is going in that direction, but it will take
Okay.
some time because otherwise the
Okay.
market is right. There is a tough competition between SAP Workday, you know, right?
Okay.
So for
Yeah.
that reason, so from a product point of view, also SAP what they are doing now, they are also moving in that direction, but it will take some time. They are calling it as a
Okay.
one domain model where
Yeah.
exactly one time only you have to integrate everything and replication will happen on central level.
Oh,
So there will be
oh,
no
really?
product to product replication. It will take some time, but I have not seen it as of now, today's date.
Okay. So what you're saying is that in success factors, all the
Huh.
replications, all the integration is still through a middleware
Huh.
now.
Yes, yes, it is central hub model. I think there is a open SAP course. I will just share that link if you have not covered that. Okay, so
Okay.
that is something called one domain model. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'll just figure it out. SAP. Yeah,
Hello?
the it is called. I'll send one link just now, so you
Okay.
can go through. Huh,
Okay.
yeah, this is called IIS one. If you search for OpenSAP course, I think it is still
I I
active. You can
I asked S1.
IIS. I'll just send the link in the window.
Oh, okay. You saw you send the link?
Yes, yes. I will send this link. You just save it. And actually, SAP has
Okay.
extended this training. I think till another
Oh,
two or
really?
three, 1 month or 2 months, you still you can achieve a record of achievement.
Oh, okay.
You can
So
enroll
it's a
for that.
recent course?
It is not a recent course. I think in the March I have done it. But yeah,
Oh,
so yeah,
let's
still
see.
I
What is
think yeah, this one or another one. A
uh
couple of new courses are. It is unlock actually. If you see, actually it started in January. Have you opened
Okay.
that course? You
No,
okay?
I haven't seen it. Where is the course? Where is it? It is in chat.
In the chat window, just check that the first link. In the chat window, the first link is related to that.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Chat link.
It's a very interesting course you can go through, and it will also, suppose somebody may ask what is the future, then you can still actually tell. And it is exclusively applicable for, no, this is a blog actually, SAP one domain model, which I told. So
Okay.
the future of cloud integration strategy and how SAP is planning for that. Okay.
Okay.
So you can
Okay.
see at present, it will support this many processes like your recruit to retire. So our process is recruit to retire. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So you will be also getting an access to the SAP API Business Hub. There is a link for it. You can go through and you can
Okay.
explore all the processes, the what are in standard. Okay, because this is more important. Product thing actually I do not worry about, because if something are getting an error in EC or EC payroll, there is always specific note you can resolve that. But
Okay.
knowing this concept, foundation, architecture, this is actually more valuable. I always emphasize and also ask people to focus on this area, because other part
Okay.
anybody can do. Okay, if you train someone, then but these things actually generally people I have seen people lack knowledge, the end-to-end
Yes.
knowledge. When I say
Yes. Yes. So these are the main modules of success factors they are going
no,
through
no, no,
now.
no. These are all not success factor. So out of this four, the first
Uh-huh.
one is success factor. It is a
Oh, okay.
across,
Okay.
it is,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
is across SAP. Whatever you are seeing here, right? Four thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The lead to cash is a CRM module.
The
Traditionally,
CRM. This is
whatever you can see, they are calling it as a customer experience.
yes.
Similarly, next one is source to pay. It is similarly other modules. Design to operate is a different module. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
probably supply chain.
Supply
Supply
chain,
chain.
supply chain. Yeah, all
And
those
this one
stuff.
is probably
PO,
um,
module, SD,
Okay. Yeah.
purchasing
Materials.
and
Okay.
purchasing
Yeah.
order and all those things. Okay.
Oh. Okay. 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 Okay.
So this is a thing. And also these days, SAP is heavily focusing on, there is something called SAP BTP, Business Technology Platform. Okay.
Oh, really?
So they
Okay.
are also, they also follow the similar kind of strategy and architecture and all. But I'm still
Okay.
learning those things. I just did an open SAP completion, but I
Okay.
have not realized, because these projects will take some time, because SAP has recently published, means it will take some time. Clients
Yes.
also will take some time to
Yes.
plan those things to in the future. So it will take some time. Maybe I'll be getting
Mhm.
an opportunity, then I will share my experience. But these are some
Oh,
hot topic
wonderful.
actually, which suppose I'm talking about the future. What is the future? So these are the things actually you
Yes.
can always explain. There are some, you can say there are some common sweet qualities. What is the advantage if you are getting
Yes.
through this? Okay, so you can see,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
here you can see one workflow inbox. So at present, what is happening? Suppose there is a notification in LMS, you will be getting that
Yes.
in the LMS notification. If you are getting some thing in
Oh,
ESS, in employee self service,
yeah.
there is different notification. If you are getting something in
Yeah. Yeah.
onboarding, you have to go to the onboarding module. Okay, it's not
Oh,
like that. So at
wow.
present, what is happening? Only one email box. So this is how
Yes.
this recruit to retire process looks like. You can see it's very seamless across the thing, and it is a foundation. As you can see, the BTP, which I was talking about, right? BTP is a business
Yes.
technology platform. Actually,
Yes.
the same thing, but they have innovated a lot, and they
Mhm.
have designed in a different way. Some architecture level at some change, many changes they have brought in, and the efficiency. The idea is to more better give more better user experience and all these things. But
Mhm.
so these are the
Mhm.
hot
Mhm.
topic which I will tell you can, if you can also explain these things to the interviewer or any future calls, interviews and all. It will be great actually. So always
Yes.
you are one step ahead among all the people. So
Yes.
you don't need to go through all the details, only
Okay.
the whatever it is there related to success factor or recruit to retire process. Okay,
Success
you can
factors.
go
Yes.
through. This is a specific to
Yes.
success
Yes.
factor and all. And the link which I have given, another link which I have given at the
Okay.
top, that is a course actually that you can finish before June. I think. I think the
Oh.
course is July,
Oh, really?
31st of July. Actually, they extended it. So it is a 4-week course. Okay.
Okay.
So it was released in January
This
11th.
one or the first?
There is another link which I have
Okay.
sent to you in the chat window. Just see that.
Oh, okay. I just saw. Is it
OpenSAP,
this one? The first one?
opensap.com /courses/IIS1. Yes, this is the course actually.
Yes.
So if
That
you're
one.
going
Okay.
through this thing,
Okay.
actually you'll be getting an good idea. And also there is one thing here. If you are, I received an activation code also for this. There is a opportunity. Suppose if you are getting this after receiving the record of achievement, if you're sharing your digital badge on Twitter, if you're having a Twitter account using the hashtag, you will be getting a free reactivation code. Suppose in the past, some of the courses you
Oh,
have
really?
yes. That code is
Wow.
approximately 2,000 to 3,000 rupees in Indian rupees. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a good award for kind of thing. I received one
Okay.
last week. I received an email. So if something you missed it, you
Okay.
can that course you can unlock using that code. So it is a very nice thing.
Okay. 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 Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can
Oh,
do this. I will
thank you.
recommend. Definitely do it.
Okay.
Go for it. Okay. It will not take much time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah. I'll recommend
And it
because
seems
it
to
is
be
a
very well
very
recommended. Very, very well
recommendable
recommended.
4.41, 4.41, and for that reason, actually,
Yes.
they have restarted this. They extended the date till July. Yeah.
Okay. I'll start it right away.
Yes. You can study, and in the meanwhile, let
Yeah.
just make me host, and I will now what I
Yeah.
will show you. So no, we don't have much topic as such, but I will just show you something more from a project implementation point of view, like your
Okay.
workbook. Okay, we have not discussed the workbook, right?
Yes.
So those workbook
Yes.
I will be sharing with you, and how to fill up if you. So that I will guide you. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is some of the workbook which we are having for success factor. Okay. So the first one is the F4.
Okay.
That is a foundation object workbook. Okay. So whatever the foundation object we have studied in the
Okay. So,
implementation guide, right? So how to fill up those
okay.
things you will be learning. Just a minute. Let me open. I think open the wrong one. Can you see the Excel?
No, not yet.
Okay, just a minute. Now you should be able to see.
Yeah. I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
it now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens? This is your actually the main workbook. Okay. So here we're typically whatever the client you are implementing for that company ID, and your date details like which is the kickoff date and what is the expected go live date. All these things will be mentioning. And for each and every configuration, you will be having this kind of section.
Can I record? Can I record this?
Yes. You can record. Yeah, I'll just okay. Sorry, I forgot that. Let me allow you to
Yeah.
record the session.
Okay. I said I need to ask you.
Yeah. So I made you. You can just.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So this is, let me start again. So this is your Employee Central Foundation Object Configuration Workbook. So typically in SuccessFactor, any products, whatever during your implementation, during your workshop, at the beginning, you have to fill out this workbook. Okay. So basically it is generally we ask the customers to fill up, but many of the cases I have seen customers take some time to understand the terminology, right? So as usual, okay. So what they can do, you can first before the conducting any workbook, first you share the PTO guide. PTO guide, have you gone through the PTO guide ever?
No. What is PTO guide? Sorry.
PTO guide is your project team orientation. So let me simultaneously open
Oh.
that.
Okay.
So that I will just open that PDF as well.
Okay.
So that you'll be
Sure.
getting more clear. Yeah, so let me share another screen. So this is actually I have included in a sequence, the sequence which will be more user friendly, more reader friendly. Okay, so can you see the PDF, the large PDF which I
Yes.
have said yesterday? Okay, so this
Yes.
is the
Yes.
PDF which is having all the documents related to the your Employee Central implementation, integration, as well as the end user, admin, everything all in one. Okay, so for that reason, I just defined
Yes.
is all in one guide. So the first initial
Yes.
pages, this is not a PTO guide. So basically, you can see it is written customer. So what is the meaning of it? This means it is targeted for the customer. Okay, so like
Okay.
SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central, it is a kind of a, you can see products. Suppose what are the features of a particular product. Okay, just like you go to Amazon,
Yes.
and if you go to specify any kind of, you are purchasing a phone, mobile phone, or any electronics goods you are purchasing, you have some specifications, right? This is the this many
Yes.
GB, this many it's the battery hours, this much. Okay, so those kind of specifications it actually SAP also release for every product. Okay, suppose as a sales guy. Okay, suppose I'm a pre-sales guy and I have to present it to the customer. What are the key features? What are the functionalities, technical from a functional point of view? So this is the initial sheet. You can getting an overall idea. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is not a technical document. Okay, so like what are the key features? Small document, only 10 pages, 10 to 11 pages of document. Okay, excluding those disclaimer and trademark. So you can go through it so that at a high level, what are the offering from as a product in Employee Central we have, that you will be getting it. Okay, you're getting my point, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like all the HR transaction, the new hires, what is a contingent or apprentice, all this reporting integration, all these things will be getting at a high level. So this is a very whenever this is also you can share with the customer. Okay, like but during the sales time only, SAP will be sending all these things to the client. Okay. So this is nothing. So here you just simply seeing what are the functionalities we, at present we do have when SuccessFactors Employee Central. Okay, like we have already covered all these things, right? Like company structure, alert, notification, leave. Okay, so all these features are combined in a very nicely they have presented in a small document. Okay, so these are the different feature. So after understanding this, or after going through it, okay, so next one is the PTO guide. So this is also a client facing or customer facing document. Okay, we call it project team orientation. Okay, so this is an auto, it's a kind of mix of technical and functional document configuration, not configuration, the concept. So what you can do before conducting a workshop. Okay, suppose
Mhm.
your project is on first starting from first week of May, and today is April 15th. Okay, so what you can do, at least before 2 weeks, you can share this document with the customer to have a glance. Okay, so you can conduct a small demo session or a 30-minute or 1 hour session to give an overall idea.
Mhm.
Okay, so that they will be getting at least the all terminology, whatever we will be using during the workshop. Okay, so that is the overall idea. So if I go through the PTO, so it explains at a very high level all the concept like related to the Employee Central. What is the permission group? Okay, so whatever we have covered it, right? So permission, how does the permission looks like? What is an RBP? Okay, so all these things you will be getting at a high level. Okay, and how to track all these things. Okay, so this is a very nice document. You can also go through it. I will recommend. This is it will be very easy for you now because we have already gone through the system and also have gone through those implementation guide. Okay, so it will be very
Yes.
easy. It's a kind of a crash course for you. Okay, so we are just doing a recap of
Yes.
cheat sheet. You can say cheat sheet for you to go through like all the diagram. Okay, so it's a very comprehensive document which is all the
Yes.
concept at a very high level they have given. So it is not very too much like and also one good thing is what is the expected questions for the customers. Okay, that also you'll be getting. Can you see that decision checklist?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so what
Okay.
happens, so you by sharing this document you are telling to the customer,
Mhm.
so these are the questions the consultant may ask during the workshop. Okay, so suppose you are a client, you are playing a client role, and so that you will prepare yourself to answer these kind of questions during the workshop. Okay, whenever you are conducting the implementation workshop, okay, the discovery workshop sometimes we call it, okay, or requirement gathering, whatever you say it. Okay, so in that discussions all the stakeholders will be there and they may be asked all these questions, like as suppose you are a consultant, then you'll be asking this kind of question: what permissions groups would you like to create? But before that, the clients will be knowing what is a permission group, isn't it? What target group?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of groups would you like to set up? You can't ask this question directly, right? Suppose if you have not have any background, okay, suppose you're directly asking what is an RBP, what kind of RBP do you want? This is not a way of asking questions. So it's a typical consulting style. You have to first explain, give some examples of saying some hypothetical mystic organization name ABCXYZ, and suppose this is a
Yeah.
simple example, then they can relate to it to their own organization, and they can think of, okay, so if they have prepared something in their prior to the meeting, it will be good. Okay, so for that reason, generally I also prefer to give at least 15 days before, minimum 15 days, 15 working days before this. Whenever you are having the first workshop, and before that you must share this document and ask the customers to read all these things. Okay, also in meanwhile, during that 15 days gap, you can have some follow-up questions. If the client is having some follow-up questions, you can take up every 3 to 4 days. You can take up maybe 1 or 2 meetings we can have, so sort just to follow up questions for if there are any doubts. Okay, so that your the first workshop will be more meaningful. Okay, so that is the overall idea. Are you following me?
Okay. Sure.
Any questions here?
But does this format here also follow the format in the Excel sheet?
No, this is a different one. So this is a kind of this is optional. These questions, okay. So you will be asking these questions, but whenever you are filling that worksheet, right, the workbook, you'll be asking this question, but that is more very specific thing. Okay, so I'll just take you through. This is one example. I'm not going through each and everything. Okay, so you just go through all this concept and in the PTO guide and all, and every section, after completion of every section, you will be having such kind of questions like decision checklist. Okay, so this is good for the consultant as well as the customer or the client. So as a consultant, you will be confident enough what are the questions to be asked. Okay, and as a customer, what is the benefit? I'll be ready to answer such kind of questions. I should be able to answer these questions whenever a consultant asks to me. Okay, suppose I am the customer, and you are the consultant, so you should be ready with these questions, and you should be very careful when to ask which question. Okay, suppose you are covering employee self-service related topic or a manager self-service related topic, then what kind of question you'll be asking, and I should be able to answer that in that proper way. Okay, so that should be it's a win-win situation for both consultant and the this document is very handy, and I found for all modules, SuccessFactors provides this kind of PTO guide. It's not only for whatever I'm covering here, it will be applicable across all the modules of SuccessFactors. It is a general principle. And so they give workbook, they give this kind of checklist, they give this kind of PTO guide, so that only thing is you have to present and you have to lead the workshop. Okay, so that is the idea, which we do not have in the never had in the on-premise, right? We have always a stereotype, classical business blueprinting. All those things were there, but here those kind of things are not here. That is the major difference of implementing a cloud product compared to the on-premise product. So with this understanding, any question?
Yeah. No, recently I was reading, and also I think it was an interview. They were asking me if I have used the Activate methodology.
Okay.
Have you used that in the Deloitte?
Yes. Actually, Activate methodology, we use it, but generally every organization have their own methodology. Okay, but we adopted. Okay, so it may not be 100% Activate. Okay, but SAP recommends that. Okay, we also follow as an organization, as an implementation partner, we follow that. Okay, but it is nothing difficult actually. So you prepare, you can also all these explore. First stage is prepare. Okay, then is explore. Okay, so all these things you can add for realize. Okay, realization. Okay, then last one is deploy. 4 phases are there. Okay, so nothing much different. So that is good for project management, but so whenever if you're working as a project manager, that will be more relevant. Okay, but because you while deciding your timeline of the projects and all.
Yeah, so I just wanted to I wanted to just get a simple high level
Hmm.
connection between objects,
Hmm.
events, and
Hmm.
event reasons.
Hmm. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So whenever you are
yeah,
seeing event reason, right? So here you can see like hiring is an events, right? And in that event reasons, it can be like
hiring is an event.
hiring is an event. Suppose hiring is an event, then event reason can be the underlying thing, like a new hire, whether you're hiring a contractor, you're hiring so onboarding or a new employee. Okay, those are the different examples. Similarly, your termination, it also can be an event. Okay, so similar to your on your PA40 on premise action reasons, right? Action is nothing but your
Uh-huh,
events,
uh-huh.
and event reasons are nothing but your action reasons. Like in termination, we do have volunteer career development, retirement, termination with benefits. So these are different termination reasons we do have. Okay. So, and whenever you are saying the object, basically underlying again. So like in suppose you are hiring an employee, right? So inside this employee will be having different entities or objects will be having, like we have different info types, portlet, info types we call it in SAP HCM, but here we do have a concept of portlet and all. So that is a relationship between all these three things: event region,
So,
and your.
within an event,
Hmm.
objects can be maintained. Is that what you're saying?
So objects
Is that,
basically, whenever I'm saying objects, right? So here we do not use the terminology as such like that. Configure object definition, we call it, right? Of
yeah,
object definition config. So you must have seen that. Manage data, then you
yeah.
have something called configure object definition. If you go to those specific configurations and all, okay, so you'll be getting those. Yes, so those are related. All are related, interlinked. Okay, but this will come under your is particular event regions inside. Suppose you are hiring a new employee will be having a lot of data, but if you're transferring an employee, so he will be, you may not be able to all the data, like because already all data will be there, so only the location changes will happen, right? Only those specific object you have to update, or the date field from which date you are transferring or you are promoting that employee. Okay, so those things will be there. Getting my point?
Yeah.
And whenever you're
And then
deriving any event
it will be,
reasons, so you can use business rules. So whatever the business rules, right? Suppose how it will drive your event region, how the trigger will happen. In those cases, you can use your business rules in that. Mm.
yeah. What I'm trying to figure out is if in on-premise we'll say, okay, you want to hire an employee, then you
Mm.
engage in an action, and
Mm.
then under the actions you will have to implement info types
Yes,
in a selective way, maybe in an info group and all that.
yes,
And then
yes.
depending on what that particular
Mm.
action is requiring. So
Yes,
I'm just
yes.
trying to make that kind of linkage between,
Mm.
okay, I have an employee event.
Mm.
In order to get that event in place, there must be a reason.
Mm.
But then to make that to start maintaining the data to ensure that that event takes place, you need to have.
Mm.
I'm just trying to understand the flow of the data
Okay.
flow, or rather
Yeah.
the system
Yeah.
flow
Yes.
of how each of these aspects placed in the system. I'm not
Mm.
very clear in my head yet.
Yeah, yeah. So
I've
for
done bits and pieces of it.
yes, yes. I got your point where you're coming from. Even I had similar queries whenever I started all these things. Okay. So for that reason, actually what I
Yeah,
have done towards the end of this
yeah.
series, I placed couple of things you will be getting an idea. There is something called
Ah,
process
okay, okay.
library. Process library. Okay. So if
Ah,
you, these
oh,
are
yeah.
actually very nice document. So like you can also
Okay.
having this process diagram also. Okay, so it is all recommended process. Okay,
Ah,
your
okay.
client may or may not follow
Oh,
100%,
oh, good,
but
good.
this is, if you are following this, success factor will run efficiently. So SAP is for the best practices. They call it not best
Mhm.
practices, they call it leading practices these days. Okay, so you will be having all these
Okay.
things. For that reason, I included in your towards the end. And not only your Employee Central, I also included all other modules where exactly you have to integrate, because if you're
Okay.
integrating with LMS, you should have a
Yeah.
basic knowledge of LMS, right? And if you're integrating with your
Oh, yes.
compensation and other modules, onboarding, RCM, at least from EC point of view, you must be knowing some all the thing. But from RCM or onboarding point of view, at
Yeah.
least the where they are interacting, the EC module is interacting with other modules. Okay, so you should be knowing all this. So
Okay.
here, all these things you can zoom and you can go through whenever you are finding time. I know it is very overwhelming. Even I have not gone through the recent all the
Mm-hmm.
documents. Okay, just yesterday I tried to
Okay.
um, just put it all the things in a single thing, so that you do not lose the track. This document is there, that document is there.
Yes.
Okay, so this is more process driven.
Okay.
All this
Yeah.
process driven diagram I will recommend specific to Employee Central initially go through. Okay, and other than that, I have included two more varieties of document here. So I'll just take you through. I will tell you. This is a process diagram. Another thing which I have covered, something called this is a very nice document which I always recommend people to go through. Even if you are not certified, before certification or before implementation, at least read 3 to 4 times. so so this is
Sorry.
called IDP. IDP, you know what is the full form of IDP?
Oh. Okay.
IDP is your implementation design principles. Okay, so this is
Oh. Okay.
over
Okay.
and above your implementation guide. Okay, so this
Yeah.
document is
Yeah.
again also released by SAP. Okay, so what you can go through, so this actually explains how should your Employee Central work. Okay, so this design principle they have clearly mentioned, and this is suppose this is one of the IDP documents. Suppose you are processing mass transaction. What is the mass transaction? Suppose you are hiring bulk, let's say. Okay, or you are doing some activity where exactly you have to do a multiple transaction at one go. Okay, so then what is the best practices? Okay, so you can see like mass changes tool. Suppose you have to change some 200 people's employee data at one go. Okay, so what are the things you have to do
Okay.
and what are the best practices you have to follow? And they have explained like detailed solution. Okay, so you do not have to think through going through the implementation guide and all. Over and above your implementation guide, okay, so they have explained the business requirement in detailed way. Okay, so what is the business requirement, what kind of technical requirement can be like mass termination. Suppose you have to business scenario can be like you have to terminate, suppose you have to offboard, we call it offboarding. So you have to terminate, let's say 100 employees in the month of April. Okay, so then you can change all this, follow this activity. Similarly, pay changes. Suppose you are giving an increment in the month of June
Yeah.
for all the, you're having 20,000 employees. How are you doing that? Okay, so all these things are good, but from process point of view, what are the things you have to remember? You may, so that you will not be making any mistake. Okay, and diagrammatically also they have given very clear picture. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so this focus, they have focused very much towards this kind of best practices and all. Whenever you're doing such things, though they will be having some do's and don'ts. Okay, so these do's and don'ts you may or may not find in the implementation guide. Suppose you're facing some issues, then only will we come to know that yeah, this is the principle by design. So you might have to go on, you may have to go through a SAP KBA, knowledge based article. In that KBA it is written you have to perform this before doing this. So before doing through that, making those mistakes, it is better, always better to go through this IDP document in implementation design principles, so that you will be knowing what are the design by architecture, how is designed, so that you proactively you will not be getting and making any such mistake. Okay. So what are the prerequisites? What should be done? A job should be, a particular job should be run before doing particular activity. Okay, so you have to follow a particular sequence. Okay, so there are some kind of tips actually they have summarized and everything. It was not available whenever I started my career, right? When I was in Success Factor 5 years back, when I started, this
Yeah.
kind of document were not available, and I have to follow, always follow. If any issues, then I have to always follow any kind of SAP note. After that, it's a kind of a reactive step, but at that present we have all the document available proactively, so you can follow these things. Okay, So you can see all the settings they have already explained. Okay, like what these are the do's and don'ts. Okay, and so that you can see reminders and tips, right? These are the things you have to
Yes.
must ready. So you do not have to wait for till implementation or till your end of your project. Rather, during before your implementation, you should always follow this best practice so that your implementation will be successful. Today's date, many implementations fail because of without lack of this kind of understanding knowledge. Okay, and people consume means they implement like anything. After getting certification, anyone can implement, and they do not have a practical knowledge on this. So always they lack those kind of experience also sometimes. Okay, so these documents will be remove those obstacles, and if you are going through all this document, okay, this especially the reminders and tips actually. Okay, so like suppose they are saying be aware this change will be happening on job information position, do not delete any objects that are currently in use by employee. So these are the quick tips actually. So it is really helpful whenever you are going to. So I would recommend, this is a lot but still couple of things whenever you're getting time after going through implementation guide. Okay, respective document related to your this implementation design principle. You got the idea, right? What is an IDP? At least suppose somebody is asking, you can explain, right? What is, have you ever seen IDP and all? Mhm. Right?
Okay.
And whenever you're asking this implement a replication also, right? The replication part also they have clearly explained how it should be replicated. If you're doing for the initial first time, what should be done? Okay, so those kind of quick tips are actually available. Okay, so like how it will be for the step one, what should the step two, what should the step three. Okay, if you're having this kind of migration itself a project. Okay, inside a success factor implementation migration, if you are having large migration objects, suppose you are moving some 50,000 employees from legacy to success factor itself, it's a big project. Okay, it's a part of your implementation. Okay, so again after migration you have, suppose you are validating, what are the things you have to check. Okay, so all these things are available quickly in this. You'll be also getting same thing in the implementation guide, but that will be here and there. That is more product oriented, but these are actually more of a consulting oriented or implementation oriented, practical oriented. So you will recommend to also go through it. And any questions on IDP? Any doubts? Hello? Hello? Andrew, are there? Hello?